Welcome to Cards of Insight, where we discuss all things tarot. And I'm Greg, and I live in London.
Anna here, joining you all the way from sunny Brazil.
Susan here. I'm here in Canada.
And Pavlina, greetings from London, UK.
And we are all tarot readers.
So, hello, welcome back.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, guys. You know, last week we spoke about the queens and the four suits. Well, today I was hoping we could talk about the boys, the kings, and see how things go, asking them the same questions.
Okay, so which king have you chosen?
King of Wands.
Oh,
So if the King of Wands had to make a decision, is he clear-headed, uncertain, quiet, sure, or weak-willed?
Well, he'll be quiet. He's a very, a guy that's, he's kind of like what I would call like a show horse. You're going to know when he walks into a room, and he's not going to basically, I think, be announcing himself as he walks into the room. So he's very sure of himself. If he's a very positive king, that he will be, and very, very clear about what he wants to say. But no, he will not be a shy, quiet individual. No.
No, not shy at all. But I was wondering about the clear-headed, though, because the King of Wands is a bit an impulse king. He is guided by, his whatever. It's not the brain. He's not a brain man. He's more on impulse. And if he's enraged, okay, he knows what he wants. That's definite. He knows what he wants, and he's probably going to do it. But clear-headed, I don't know. Maybe it's just the terminology that I'm having a difficulty with.
Well,
but
he's an innovator, so maybe he'll be bouncing around ideas. So maybe clear-headed. Well, he knows he'll have an idea come in, and then he'll like interrupt himself because he's got another idea. So it's like he could be very scattered. If he's not as sure of himself, like you might find him very scattered, like he's just going from one idea to another idea, and so the people around him would have a harder time to, be with him.
no, he's definitely it doesn't have a weak will. When he decides to do something, he will do it. He builds the business. He doesn't care what you think about it.
Right. Okay. In terms of clear-headed, there was a businessman. He was Japanese. He said, "Don't worry too much about the business and think too much. You can't predict what's going to go wrong. Just start the business, do it, and worry about the problems later." And I think that's more the philosophy of the King of Wands. It's not so much is he thinking clear-headed. It's like, doesn't need to bother. He would rather take action and then worry about something later. I mean, he is the king. He is responsible, but he's very competent in what he does because he's the king. And is he uncertain? Yeah, but he's a risk taker, right? Got to take risks in life. And as a king, he would obviously make decisions that he's sure about because he has the experience. But if he's unsure, uncertain, I think that man's a brilliant risk taker. Uncertainty comes with quiet. The King of Wands has to get the job done. He doesn't need to speak. So if he's not quiet, it's because something needs to be done. And I like to think of the King of Wands as Joe Pesci, gets the job done, no matter who it is. Ask Joe Pesci, gets the job done. Whether he's got to shout or do it calmly, take a risk, gets the job done. King of Wands for me is Joe Pesci. That's what I love about the masculine energy. And sure, he's got skill and experience. And again, if he's not sure, that would be uncertainty, but he's a risk taker. Weak-willed, definitely not. If you're going to take on a King of Swords, expect the unexpected and the unpredictable, because they certainly have confidence, risk takers, and that's signs of a person who's not weak-willed.
Like he's always going to be selling you his ideas.
Of course.
He'll want your buy-in. He'll want to be very convincing, I think. And I think he is very convincing, not want to be. He is very convincing. He knows the gift of the gab. I think he's a true salesperson. So if you say something negative, he's going to say, well, no, if you're saying the tires are too small, no, they're not too small. Or if they're small, they can grip the highway better. You know, that kind of talk. He would bring out, like if you said anything against what he was saying, or if he was selling something, he's going to turn it around and say, yeah, no, this is why it is the way it is. So he's always very quick-witted. Always got different things going on in his brain.
Yeah, I think if he's quiet because he's thinking about the plans. That's the only moment when he's quiet, or he's got a business strategy he doesn't want to reveal to other people because it's required to be quiet.
I have an issue with the King of Wands, to be very honest. Because every time people say that, he has an idea and he's thinking about it, or he's quiet, I think about the King of Swords. For me, the King of Wands is a go-getter. He doesn't really think much. In my experience, he has an urge to do something. He knows what he wants, definitely. He doesn't really question himself too much. He knows what he wants. He goes and he does it, period. If it fails, too bad. If it doesn't, excellent. I know I'm good at what I do, because he's also very, very self-assured. He has a very high concept of himself. But I don't see him thinking too much. I see him just going and do his position in the Rider-Waite shows that. He's sitting, but he's itching to go. He's just itching to go. He's holding the wand. He's saying, no, that's not nice. Hold my beer. I think that's my sentence for him. There's something going on. He cannot stand still. He's taking action. He's just going there and doing something. So, yeah, but definitely not weak-willed. Definitely not. No.
Well, I think he's like a collaborator. He wants everyone's buy-in to whatever he's saying. He wants that. So if someone, is supporting that, giving him another idea to it, he's going to be he's going to build on that. But I think he wants that people excitement. He wants that energy around him always. So if you're the one in the back corner being very, very quiet, he's not going to be wanting you on his team. He wants that kind of fluid and collaboration.
He wants an allegiance.
Jovial.
He wants an allegiance.
Yeah.
Now, my question would be, how does he handle opposing ideas? What if he wants to do something, and as you said, he gathers people to do it with him in collaboration? What if he finds somebody who is a bit, no, I don't think would he handle it well? I don't know. I don't think so.
I think he would ignore. I think he would ignore any negativity. I think he would, as soon as someone would come up with this, if he doesn't have an answer to that negative or whatever he perceives as negative, I think he's going to walk all over that person. Like he'll just, just keep talking or walk away from them, and go to someone who's going to buy in what he's saying.
Yeah.
He leads by example. He's a person of action. You'll always see him around. So if he's an organizer, wherever you look, you will see him. There he is, always on the go. And as people that are going to be negative and that, he doesn't have time for that. He's busy. That's going to hold him back. He's not going to worry about negativity. He's going to ignore it, like you pointed out earlier. Or if he had an employee that he couldn't work with, he would just either move him to another department, but would rather just not work with him because it hinders him. And that's a quick decision as well.
let's not let's not forget he's got as well good network behind him, because if you look at the lizard, that represents maybe some of his good partners or some people from the abroad, and he is looking for I think he does import export for me if he's businessman, because he's looking to do distant countries.
He's looking outward.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to try another one?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. The King of Wands again. If he was giving directions, would it be forceful, hesitate, overly aggressive, or would he be timid?
Never timid.
Never timid.
Never timid.
And
but
never hesitate. He doesn't hesitate either.
No, but I don't think he's going to be like the King of Swords, like boom, boom, bang kind of thing. I think he'll say, Harry, how about you go get that ladder? Or Sylvia, hey, how about everyone needs a drink here? How about we do that? Like he'll want the buy-in of those around him.
I agree with you, Susan. I think we are touching on something that is interesting about the cards. They have levels of intensity depending on the reading you have.
Yeah.
The King of Wands may be, I was, looking at the words, forceful and overly aggressive. I think depending on how invested or how interested or how passionate he is about whatever it is that he's doing, be it directions, be it decisions, he might be overly aggressive. He might be. It really depends if he's pressed for time. So that urgency or that sort of strength has to be checked during your reading. So he can be both. I think he can be forceful, and he can also be overly. He can be a tyrant. If you read reversals, he can be a big monster. I mean, chop their heads off. He's very I think you call it sanguine. He's a man of emotions, right? He's outbursts. He has many outbursts. He may even mean well, but he may be dangerous. Let's put it this way: when he's really passionate about something. So, yeah.
Yeah, he reminds me of Joe Pesci, right? Like in a gangster movie, like, I told you to get that effing thing yesterday, and you still haven't got it, you effing idiot, and hits him over the head. And like, you once it done. There's no, why do I have to tell you twice? I told you yesterday. So you may get that from him, but he's a King of Wands. He wants the job done. And so if he's busy and you've asked him for directions, he's going to go up there to the left and right, as if to say, this is the last time I'm telling you. But he's not being aggressive. He's just in a hurry. He's being assertive, and he wants it done properly. He wants to make sure you heard him right. That's why he spoke to you like that. He's helping you in his view. So he's not being rude.
Would you say he lacks empathy?
No.
If he's too driven, would he lack empathy?
I think he would not show it rather than lack it. And I think it would motivate him more, to push him more. Like physically, he would use that as a tool.
I think he would use empathy to win his case because he is manipulative.
Yeah.
I think he would use it. So he wouldn't be, I would say he doesn't know the real meaning of empathy. He uses that in order to get what he wants. So I don't think he has an empathy in his heart, the true understanding of empathy, in my understanding of him.
Okay. I get what you're saying, because when I was asked the question, I was like, in the view is, well, my partner left me yesterday. I'm not going to sit and cry. I'm going to go to work and actually do overtime and work harder, so I don't have to think about it. So it's not to say they don't really have empathy. They just sort of deal with it that way. They would rather just work hard than worry about it.
You know what? I seriously believe the King of Wands is the only guy who would fight in the pub if somebody would insult any woman or somebody. He is the action man. He would not even think about anything. Oh, shall I do or not do it? He will just do that. So
that's true.
Yeah, he's the impulse guy. But then let's think about it this way. He is like that not because, I don't know if he truly cares. I think he does that because he has such a high concept of himself. He thinks of himself as the sun. You know, I shine. I know I'm here to do everything right. And you people, you follow me, because if you follow me, things are going to go right. If you don't follow me, things are not going to go right. This is the energy I sometimes get from this guy. I mean, he shines. If others stay with him, they're going to shine too because of his light, not because of the lights that others have as well. I don't know if I'm making this too confusing, but it's a question of, everybody turns around me because I bring heat. I'm interesting. I'm gorgeous. I'm knowledgeable. I have everything. So if you associate yourself with me, then you're going to shine too, because some of my light will rub off on you. This is what I sometimes feel, the King of Wands. That's why I asked, does he have any empathy or?
And as much as that annoys you, what you've just explained, Anna, as much as it annoys you, he's the king.
Oh, I know.
So he can do that, right?
I know.
So
I know he can. I know he can, which makes it even worse because he has a huge, a concept. I am the center of the universe, and being the king, that is a very bad combination. You're giving power to a person that believes they're everything.
So if he is emotional, can we test him? Can I prod him and then insult his, maybe burst his ego or say something to bring him down a bit? How would he react?
Excellent question.
Like if I said something like, oh, I don't know, oh, you're not as smart as you think you are. You failed that subject back in grade 2, and just insult him or something like that. Ridicule him. Let's upset him. And then, and now is he emotional?
Oh, I would see him beating the guy up. I don't see him engaging in an argument.
Why is he beating the guy up?
Because I see him more as a doer. He's not a thinker. He's not a person to talk. He's a person to act. And I see punches as action. I mean, he's more physical. He's more of a physical guy. I don't think he would take constructive criticism well. I don't think so, especially if it touches his ego. He has a huge ego, very big. Sometimes it's justified. Sometimes the guy is everything. He's the big F. But sometimes he isn't, and he acts as such. So again, there are levels, in different situations because it's very generic.
I think he has a book that's where he is all the, he has a belief system. What he believes, and what is right in his book. So when there's a bar fight happening or if he sees a woman being bothered, I think he looks at the right thing to do for a man is to go over and punch that guy. Yeah. That's the right thing to do. And I don't think he's going to care what so much was the conversation or anything that was going on between the two people. He's just going to say, that man's bothering that woman, you're out of here. I'm going to punch the shit out of you.
Would he beat the wife that cheated on him? Yeah. You're talking about principles. Okay,
that would depend on the person themselves, right? That's just a nasty person. That's horrible person,
that's what I'm saying. It has levels. It has levels.
The question I'm asking, I ask Susan a question, right? So this guy's seen this man treating this woman badly. So the King of Wands is going to go and punch him in the face, which is a fair comment because I feel the same way. Let's go with that. Why did he punch that guy in the face? Because it's against the King of Wands' morals, and that's why, or because it actually upset the king? The king's upset now because my morals were, is it an emotional thing? Or...
I don't know if emotion is necessarily I think he's in his head space, not in his heart space. I think he thinks, oh, that man over there is, bugging this girl, or I'm, the right thing to do, moral thing to do is to stop it. I think that's how he is, but I don't think it comes into his heart the same it would be, say, with the King of Cups. It doesn't come into his heart or emotionally that way. I think it's more from the head of what is right and what is wrong in his perception. I mean, we may not necessarily, because not all King of Wands are the same. And it's like, well, that's his perception of what's right and what's wrong. Doesn't necessarily make it right in our eyes.
Yeah. And there are degrees, of course, as you said.
Yeah.
I mean, there are just many levels of the King of Wands, and he can be very passionate but not aggressive. You have different types, so yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Another one? Okay, well, when the King of Wands makes a decision, would you see him as prejudiced, broad-minded, trusting, or suspicious?
Well, when the people's decisions come from him, how would he be? Prejudiced, broad-minded, trusting, or suspicious?
If the people's opinions were different, he would be, what's the best word? We've got prejudiced, broad-minded, trusting, or suspicious. Prejudice. I'd go for prejudice as well.
Yeah, I think prejudiced. We just talked about that. He doesn't really like to be contradicted.
I think, yeah, it was answered before because, like, this is the way we do things. It's like Susan pointed out earlier. This is the way we do things. So it can sort of be a bit of a hierophant sometimes. I think this is the way we do things here, and so broad-minded, trusting. I could trust him. I think I could trust the King of Wands.
It depends what I'm asking him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he described himself being minded and not prejudiced. I think that's what he would think of himself. But when a situation arises, that would be the true statement of who he is, whether to point out to him whether or not he's prejudiced and if he's as broad-minded as he thinks. And I don't know if he might lie to himself rather than face that within himself.
Yeah, I think if any of the kings would crash, the King of Wands would have the biggest blow, I think. He would be the one to suffer the most because he's really all the way up there. The other ones would survive better. They would recuperate much, much faster than the King of
And he
Wands.
gets involved in everything as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him micromanaging you because every time you turn around, you'll say, I thought I saw you down there. I look, now you're here.
Yeah.
Be everywhere.
Yeah, it's like a god fixing things, you know.
And obviously suspicious if it's going against his belief or the consensus, he's going to be suspicious of it. No, it's not a way we know. This is the way I know. This is how we do it. Any other way is suspicious.
I think well, look, the King of Wands is the person who is looking more to the future and not thinking about the present time, like just looking ahead and just I'm thinking about the future. I'm not bothered about what's happening right now.
Yeah, the consequences.
Consequences. Yeah.
They're great for living for the now ones. Yesterday don't matter. Tomorrow doesn't matter. Today, now, in the moment. Okay, we'll try another one.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Fourth one, we got people that know the King of Wands well. Would they consider him loving, cold, generous, or withdrawn?
Generous.
Yeah, generous. Yeah.
Definitely generous. And I think he would give that because of his generosity, he's seen as loving. But it's like I said before, I don't think it's quite within his heart. I think he thinks that he's very loving, but I think he's generous, which is perceived as loving, till he's challenged with that. People that know him well may challenge that with him. It's like, hey, you're not, you may be generous, but you're not being very empathetic here, because I don't think he understands what we were saying before, empathy. He doesn't quite understand that kind of thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Yeah.
But if he's a father, he is a high driven for his children. He will achieve, and he will be like just pushing them. Things.
But that's the thing. Where do you place the word generous, and where do you place the word loving? I mean, he can see that pushing his son to be the best at school is being loving, but maybe for the kid that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. He's a monster. I'm afraid because I got a B and he wants A's and everything. So it's complicated, because I think the way he sees love and generosity may not be the same way as other people see love and generosity. He has his own way of seeing things that may or may not match.
So other people could call him cold, only because of, like, his child, depending on how old his child is, could see him that they're not getting what they feel true loving, that they feel that he's being cold. He's not really feeling what they need. So that's why I feel he could be a very cold person, or perceived as being very cold to those around him that are very close.
I think he could be called withdrawn by the other people who are not in a business with him, or what he's doing, what's his intention. They could think, oh, he's just doing this. He's not interested in other things. He's withdrawn from other activities.
Yeah, I was thinking about him as a father. So if, let's say, the King of Wands has two sons, okay, two boys. Let's put it boys, because if we stick daughters, it's going to be even more complicated. But he has two boys. One is playing football, American football, and the other one is a computer analyst. Who is he going to share more interest with? Who is he going to show love more for? Probably
he's a football fan, definitely.
Yeah. He's into sports. So, but they're both his sons. So that's the thing. He probably doesn't jive well with the computer son, because it's not a physical thing. That's what I say. The King of Wands is very physical. So he might go with the other son to the games, and just push him to his limit, but not really be interested in whatever program.
Well, he might not show up for the science fair.
Yes,
absolutely. He might not.
He will just come to the science fair if he's got the stock, like market stocks in there, and he has to come in.
Or because he likes the science teacher.
Yeah, okay.
Or that too, or even worse, which I witnessed once. It was with a girl, but it's the same story. He goes to the science fair because he's the father, or it's Father's Day or whatever. And while he's there, he mentions the other son. He has a brother who is excellent at football matches. I mean, he kind of wants to bring the allegiance. Remember, we talked about people who think like him. So he might not do that on purpose to offend or to hurt the son at the science fair, but he might do it.
Yeah, he's kind of tactless.
Oh,
he's
completely.
The poor geeky son going, oh, my dad goes to my brother's football matches and soccer matches
never comes
and this
to,
and that.
yeah,
but
never
it
comes to my science. My science fair, yeah.
And then he's not going to realize that it's affecting his geeky son.
Well, what would probably happen is that the kid he's showing his dad the science project before he's going to the fair or whatever. And his dad will say, well, why don't we do this? And why don't we do that?
Yeah.
So he's completely taking over his son's ideas
Yeah.
and not supporting them, but completely overriding them. And I could just see the little chest-fallen little kid, like thought he was going to be impressing his father, and here his father's gone off in a tangent.
Doing the homework for him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But they don't mean it, sometimes.
No, he's tactless.
Yeah. He doesn't do it on purpose, unless he's reversed here. He doesn't do it on purpose.
No, I think he looks at it. He's supporting his science son. I think that's how he would look at it, and he wouldn't understand why his son is upset with him, because it's like, I'm there. I'm trying to support him. I'm giving him ideas, and I mean, he's not understanding. He needed to listen to that child and honor and promote him. And maybe if he had a better idea to be helpful to the son, introduce, so it become his son's idea. But I don't know if because he's so tactless, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and follow us. And feel free to leave a comment.